The Chinese military might look unstoppable on parade, endless columns of tanks, missile launchers, and troops marching in perfect sync. But behind that display, there's a truth Beijing doesn't want to highlight. The real obstacles to taking Taiwan aren't just military, they're deep, structural, and in some cases completely out of China's control. China's military buildup versus harsh realities. Beijing has spent years modernizing its armed forces. New aircraft carriers are rolling out, amphibious assault ships are entering service, and advanced landing barges are being built to bridge the Taiwan Strait. On paper, it looks like the People's Liberation Army is preparing for the big push, but the reality is more sobering. Amphibious invasions are some of the most difficult military operations in history. They require perfect coordination between land, sea, and air forces, ironclad logistics, and seasoned leadership. According to US National Defense University research from 2022, even with its rapid modernization, China lacks fully integrated logistics and joint force training. The gap isn't just in technology, it's in experience. The PLA hasn't fought a real war since 1979. A Pentagon assessment in December 2024 pointed to another problem: corruption. Deep-seated graft within the PLA is undermining readiness, raising questions about whether it could meet President Xi Jinping's reported goal of being invasion-ready by 2027. At the same time, open-source intelligence service Jane's estimated that the odds of a full-scale invasion in the following 6 to 12 months were just 5%. Instead, China's military activity was expected to remain in the realm of intimidation and coercion, more drills and flyovers than actual combat. Surveys reinforce this view. In 2024, the Center for Strategic and International Studies found that only 27% of US experts and 17% of Taiwanese experts believe China could pull off an amphibious assault. Those are low confidence levels for a country supposedly on the brink of action. The geography problem. Even if China were ready on paper, the Taiwan Strait is not an easy crossing. At its narrowest point, it's over 80 miles, about 130 kilometers, of often rough water. The western coast of Taiwan, where landings would most likely be attempted, is shallow and fully exposed to defensive fire. Modern surveillance means any buildup would be spotted well in advance, giving Taiwan time to respond. This isn't a stealth mission waiting to happen. Any Chinese landing force would be moving slowly through open waters, with little cover, while under constant attack from anti-ship missiles, artillery, and airstrikes. Geography alone tilts the battlefield in Taiwan's favor. Taiwan's shift toward the Porcupine. Taiwan knows its vulnerabilities and has been adapting. In July, it staged one of its largest ever military drills, mobilizing 22,000 reserve personnel. The exercises showcased new US-supplied Abrams M1A2T tanks and HIMARS rocket launchers alongside cyber defense simulations. These aren't just big-ticket purchases, they're part of a deliberate shift toward multi-domain defense. Elements of the Porcupine Strategy are already visible: decentralized command to ensure continuity if leadership is hit, rapid acquisition of sea mines, and ground-launched anti-ship missiles. The goal is to make Taiwan such a hard target that any invasion becomes unacceptably costly for Beijing. That said, Taiwan still invests in high-value platforms like upgraded F-16s and large warships, meaning it hasn't gone fully into porcupine mode. But every year, the island's ability to defend itself across land, sea, air, and cyber domains grows stronger. The Silicon Shield. Beyond missiles and tanks, Taiwan has another layer of defense, one that can't be seen on a battlefield. It's the global semiconductor industry. Taiwan is the world's largest producer of chips, and its crown jewel, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Co., controlled 67.1% of the market in the final quarter of 2024. Nearly all of the most advanced chips in the world come from this island. These chips are the backbone of modern life. They run our cars, our factories, our power grids, and our defense systems. They make artificial intelligence possible. If Taiwan's production stopped, the economic shock would hit both the US and China and likely plunge the world into recession, or worse. This is why experts call it the Silicon Shield. Both Washington and Beijing have a vested interest in keeping Taiwan's chip industry safe. An invasion or blockade that damaged TSMC's facilities wouldn't just cripple Taiwan, it could trigger a global depression lasting a decade or more. shipping lanes, and the trade choke point. Taiwan's value to the world isn't just in chips. Its location makes it a key node in global shipping. The Taiwan Strait and Luzon Strait are major arteries for international trade. In 2022, Taiwan's own ports handled $586 billion in trade, while an estimated $2.45 trillion worth of goods passed through the Taiwan Strait. Any military action would disrupt these flows. China's own eastern ports, some of its most valuable, would be among the first to feel the impact as shipping companies diverted around the conflict zone. This diversion would cut off China's access to its network of coastal repair and processing facilities, forcing ships to bypass some of its most lucrative port cities. Geopolitically, such a disruption would hurt Beijing's relationships with the global south and BRICS nations, many of which rely heavily on these shipping lanes. As China works to strengthen ties with these partners, sparking a trade crisis could undo years of diplomacy. China's fragile economic position. China is not in the same economic position it was a decade ago. The lingering effects of its real estate crisis, slow domestic consumption, and ongoing US-China trade tensions have all taken a toll. Launching a major conflict now would add huge uncertainty to an already strained system. Ironically, China is also one of Taiwan's biggest semiconductor customers, importing up to 60% of its chips from the island. Cutting off this supply would cripple many of China's own industries, from consumer electronics to defense manufacturing. With trade making up 37% of its GDP, China is deeply vulnerable to disruptions in global commerce. Bloomberg Economics has estimated that a blockade could shrink global GDP by 5%, with China's economy contracting by 8.9% and the US by 3.3%. An invasion would be even worse. Global GDP could drop by 10.2%, with East Asian economies like Japan and South Korea hit hardest. The first year alone could see a $10 trillion economic loss. Why quick victory is the only option, and why that's unlikely. Given the economic and geopolitical risks, Beijing could only justify military action if it could secure a rapid, decisive victory, and do so without damaging Taiwan's chip facilities or losing the skilled workforce that runs them. That's a tall order. The PLA is currently undergoing a major purge, officially to root out corruption. Whether this is truly about cleaning up graft or more about consolidating political control, the effect is the same. It disrupts readiness and undermines morale. If corruption is as deep as feared, the PLA may not be able to sustain a high-intensity campaign. If it's a political purge, mistrust within the ranks could be just as damaging. Economic and military shields working together, Taiwan's strongest defense may lie in the combination of its economic and military strategies. By remaining a high-stakes, low-value target, economically vital but militarily costly to take, it makes any Chinese move fraught with risk. As long as Taiwan doesn't push for outright independence and continues to build up its defensive capabilities, the economic structures surrounding it make military action less attractive for Beijing. The Silicon Shield and the Porcupine Strategy together create a multi-layered deterrent. The status quo and US support. The US plays a critical role in maintaining this balance. While it doesn't officially recognize Taiwan as a separate nation, the Taiwan Relations Act ensures deep economic and military ties. Arms shipments have increased and bipartisan support in Congress has grown, helping counter concerns that US policy might be traded away in negotiations with Beijing. This quiet but firm support, combined with Taiwan's own preparations, makes it harder for China to justify the economic and diplomatic fallout of an invasion. For now, the smart move for Beijing may be to continue flexing military muscle without crossing the line into open conflict. And for Taiwan, the challenge is to keep strengthening both its military defenses and its economic importance to the world, so that taking the island remains an option too risky to consider. What do you think? If tensions keep rising, will these shields hold? Is it just a matter of time before someone makes a move? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.